You're listening to Commander's Demand with your host, Sports PSP, exclusively on the Grid Network.
Yo, what's up, folks? It's your boy Sports PSP. Hope everyone's enjoying a fantastic day. Welcome to another episode of Commander's Demand, in which your boy Sports PSP talks about things surrounding the Washington Commanders. I really gotta talk about some news that was trending Monday, and it's regarding Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson released a statement on Twitter. This is what he tweeted. A letter to my fans. I want to first thank you for all the love and support you consistently show towards me. All of you are amazing, and I appreciate y'all so much. I want you all to know not to believe everything you read about me. Let me personally answer your questions. In regards to my future plans, as of March 2nd, I requested a trade from the Ravens organization, for which the Ravens has not been interested in meeting my value. Any and everyone that has met me or been around me know I love the game of football, and my dream is to help a team win the Super Bowl. You all are great, but I had to make a business decision that was best for my family and I. No matter how far I go or where my career takes me, I'll continue to be close to my fans of Baltimore Flock Nation and the entire state of Maryland. You'll see me again. So after reading that statement, Lamar Jackson has made it official. He wants to be traded. And this is going back to March 2nd. He's made it clear that he wants to be out of Baltimore. Now, his head coach, John Harbaugh, reading an article here from ESPN's Jamison Hensley. John Harbaugh, the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, he was asked immediately about Jackson's tweet as he was sitting down at the AFC coaches breakfast. John Harbaugh said, "I haven't seen the tweet. It's an ongoing process. I'm following it very closely, just like everyone else here. I'm looking forward to a resolution." With reporters packed shoulder to shoulder around his table, Harbaugh consistently remained upbeat about Jackson. He smiled and cracked the occasional joke while answering 32 questions during his 27-minute media session. Harbaugh said he is still building the offense around Jackson and doesn't see a damaged relationship with the 2019 NFL MVP. But Harbaugh acknowledged that there is uncertainty surrounding Lamar Jackson's situation. He goes further. I don't know what direction is going to go. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell the future, but I know whatever happens is going to be good. It's going to be okay. I have my hopes. I love Lamar Jackson. Now, the Ravens, they placed a non-exclusive franchise tag on Jackson on March 7th, 5 days after Jackson said he made his trade request, which allowed him to negotiate with other teams. If Jackson signs an offer sheet, Baltimore would have 5 days to either match it or receive 2 first-round picks as compensation. If there is no offer sheet, Jackson would earn $32.416 million this season if he plays under the franchise tag. Asked whether if he was certain that Jackson would play this season under the tag, Harbaugh said, quote, "I don't know," adding that he hadn't spoken to Jackson about that. Harbaugh also said it's been a while since the last time he talked with Jackson. His last interaction with Jackson was through a text message about the offense and coaching staff. However, Harbaugh still believes Jackson will be his quarterback in week 1. He got to plan for all the contingencies for sure. Harbaugh said, "I'm pretty fired up about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is a great player. Lamar came back in great shape last year. He's fired up to play. That's the Lamar I'm looking forward to." And the Ravens president, Sashi Brown, echoed a similar statement Monday. "We love Lamar. We want Lamar Jackson back," he said. Now, last September, which was the beginning of the 2022-2023 season, I'm still reading the article here from ESPN. A source told ESPN's Adam Schefter and Chris Mortensen that Jackson turned down an offer from Baltimore that included $133 million guaranteed at signing, $175 million guaranteed for injury, and $200 million in total guarantees if he's on the roster on the 5th day of the 2026 league year. The $200 million would rank second among all quarterbacks to Deshaun Watson, 5-year, $230 million guaranteed, and would surpass deals signed by Kyler Murray, which was his $103.3 million guaranteed at signing, and Russell Wilson's $124 million guaranteed at signing last year. Schefter and Mortensen reported that in September that Jackson wants a fully guaranteed deal similar of Watson's. Jackson hasn't talked about his contract since week 1 of last season, and he hasn't spoken to reporters going back to December 2nd. Asked whether he thought about the timing of Jackson's tweet Monday was to exert pressure, Harbaugh responded, "I really don't know. It's part of the business of football." So, I mean, it's a very tricky situation, but Lamar Jackson, again, just going back to his statement, he wants to be traded going back to March 2nd. And after when I heard the news that Lamar Jackson wanted to be traded, I did a video on my YouTube channel, Sports PSP. Go check it out. And I suggested 4 teams, at least 4, that should consider acquiring Lamar Jackson in a trade. And one of those teams is, of course, the Washington Commanders. And it's not just because I'm talking about the Lamar Jackson news. It's not just because Lamar Jackson has made it official that he wants to be traded. But I got to give a lot of kudos and a huge shout out to Ryan Flowers. As you know, I had him last week on the Commanders Demand podcast. And I can't believe I'm actually taking advice from a Dallas Cowboy, because unlike most Dallas Cowboy fans, they're delusional, but he is very fair, very rational, very objective. So I got to give him his kudos. I told him, look, Washington is probably going to a more conservative approach. They're going to have to go with Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, which is what Martin Mayhew said. You know, Martin Mayhew told the reporters, he told everybody that, look, I won't get into specifics about Lamar. I don't want to sound critical of anyone. He's a very talented quarterback. He's one of the better quarterbacks in this league. But for us right now, they're moving forward with Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett. So, like I said, Washington, they're going with a more conservative approach by going with Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett. But Ryan mentioned that, look, you have to make a splash pick. You have to make a splash pick. And I brought up the history of Washington making bad free agency or offseason moves, such as the Albert Haynesworth move and the Josh Norman move. But he said, look, those are different positions. Lamar Jackson is a quarterback. You got to get a quarterback. You got to get a quarterback to compete within that division. And Washington, throughout history, they've struggled at the quarterback position. And I think by getting a Lamar Jackson in that division, that would definitely benefit Washington, and it would definitely help our chances as far as competing in the NFC East. I would love to have Lamar Jackson on my team because it would just help our chances. And I'm not sure if Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett, even though I like them, but let's be honest, do you really think they are the long-term solutions for the Commanders? No. Probably not. And I'm being generous when I say probably not. And I also thought about this point. If Martin Mayhew and Ron Rivera, and also Ron Rivera did mention that Washington is not going to rule out drafting a quarterback in the first round. And I'll get into that in just a sec. But There is a problem. If you don't want to get Lamar Jackson for whatever reason, because of the past couple of seasons, Lamar Jackson has been injured, fine. And you don't think his style of play could last in the NFL, fine. Even though no one can argue his results. 45-16 as a starter, 1 playoff victory, 2-time Pro Bowler, first team All-Pro, league MVP unanimously. If you don't feel like Lamar Jackson is your style of quarterback, fine. But if you want to go forward with Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett, or whoever, and I don't think they're the long-term solution, Washington, you got to have a plan. You got to have a plan because we can't continue having seasons of 6-11, 7-10, and we finish with the 13th, 14th pick in the draft, and we don't get a chance of getting a top tier quarterback in the draft. We have the 16th overall pick in the draft. We're not going to get Bryce Young. We're not going to get CJ Stroud. Those 2 quarterbacks are going to be taken off the board. So we probably may not get Anthony Richardson. At best chance, maybe Will Levis. If you don't think Lamar Jackson, I mean, all I'm saying is, why not get Lamar? We can't have another season of 6-11 or 7-10 and end up with a mid first round pick. I mean, what is that going to do for us? Now, again, we're going to have to give up a lot to get Lamar Jackson. We're going to have to give up a couple of first round picks. We're going to have to give up a 3rd or a 4th. But we can't continuously having seasons of mid-tier or low-tier quarterbacks. In order for us to compete, if we're Washington, we got to get a quarterback. And that was also what Ryan alluded to last week. We have to make a splash move. And I think this is the chance, this is the opportunity for us to make a splash move. We need a quarterback. And we need something to excite that fan base. And if you put Lamar Jackson, and Washington, they have pieces. Obviously, Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson. We have Antonio Gibson, the running back. Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator. We've addressed some of the offensive line. We added Andrew Willie, Nick Gates. Ron Rivera has a history of working with a dual threat quarterback, in Carolina, going back to Cam Newton. Why not Lamar Jackson? Why not Lamar Jackson in DC? Because, like I said, I don't think Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett, I like him. I don't think they're the long-term solution. And we can't continuously end up having seasons of 6-11 or 7-10 and end up having 15th and 16th overall picks and not getting opportunities on top-tier quarterbacks in the draft. We probably may have another 6-10, 7-11 season. What's that going to do? And we're going to miss our chances in the 2024 draft on getting Caleb Williams, the Heisman Trophy quarterback from USC, or North Carolina's Drake May. It's not every day you get a top 10 quarterback. So if you're Washington, even though what Martin Mayhew and what Ron Rivera has said, I think you should pull the trigger and get Lamar Jackson, because we need a splash move. We need a top tier quarterback to compete and to help Washington's chances as far as turning around that franchise and helping us win the division. We need a quarterback, and especially in the era that we are today, you're only going to go as far as your quarterback. I mean, you can't just rely on your defense, your running game, and other things. Of course, it's a team game, but in this league, you're only going to go as far as your quarterback. And Lamar Jackson has the results. He is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. So if you're Washington, why not pull the trigger? The opportunity is there. Go get Lamar Jackson. Now, if you told me that we have a chance of getting Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, then I wouldn't waste my time trying to get Lamar Jackson. But we're not going to get Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. We probably may not get, as I mentioned, Caleb Williams, Drake May. Why not get Lamar Jackson? He's 26 years old. Yes, I understand the injuries. The past couple of years, he's been injured, but I think he's worth it. And I think that's what Washington should do, because we need a top 10 quarterback, and I think he's a top 10 quarterback. We need someone to compete in that division. Lamar Jackson could be the best quarterback in that division. Only quarterback you would argue above Lamar Jackson is Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles. Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett are not the long-term solution. And I also think that the offense would be formidable pairing Lamar Jackson with the weapons like Dotson, McLaurin, Samuel, Gibson, and with Eric Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator. That's what I think. That's what Washington should do. They should consider trading Lamar Jackson. But anyway, very interesting news. I'm reading an article here from ESPN.com. The Josh Harris / Mitchell Rails group, which now includes Magic Johnson, officially submitted a fully financed bid for the Washington Commanders that meets Dan Snyder's $6 billion asking price, a source told ESPN's Adam Schefter on Tuesday. Canadian billionaire Steve Apostopoulos, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right, also has submitted a fully funded $6 billion offer for the Commanders, sources told Schefter and ESPN's Brian Windhorst on Tuesday. If either bid is accepted, the deal would break the previous record sale for a franchise set in August, when a group led by Walmart heir Rob Walton bought the Denver Broncos for $4.65 billion. Tillman Fertitta, owner of the NBA's Houston Rockets, also is interested in purchasing the Commanders. There's another anonymous group that has toured the facilities as well. Multiple sources involved in the process have told ESPN. Once Snyder accepted an offer, he must submit the bidder's name to the NFL for approval. 3/4 of the owners would need to approve any sale. So, what are my thoughts about this, folks? I mean, big news. I really love it. I feel very good about Daniel Snyder's chances of leaving the Commanders once and for all, because I've said it before, folks, and I'll say it again. I think he's the worst owner in sports. I mean, y'all can make an argument. Jim Dolan of the New York Knicks, Jimmy Haslam of the Cleveland Browns. Daniel Snyder has to fit in that category. He's been owning the team since 1999, and it's been a dumpster fire ever since he owned the team. I mean, when he first bought the franchise back in 1999, he purchased it for about $800 million. And, Washington, the last time we've won a playoff game was going back to 2005. Look, I don't really care who it is as far as ownership. All I care about is one thing and one thing only. Well, I care about a lot of things. I take that back. But whoever the new owner is, whether he or she, whatever the case may be, I want someone who is considerate, who is compassionate, who understands, who can somewhat relate to Commanders fans, and who cares about what the Commanders fans expect from and what they need. I don't want an owner that surrounds himself with yes people, that will only listen to people who will tell him or her what they want to hear instead of what they need to hear. I don't want an owner that wants to listen to yes people. I want an owner that will receive constructive criticism, someone that will get to their ear and tell them the things that we have to do that's in the best interest for the Washington Commanders. And for the past 2.5 decades, that has been the problem with Daniel Snyder. I just feel like Daniel Snyder is not what's in the best interest for the Washington Commanders. I feel like Daniel Snyder cares about what's in the best interest for himself. He acts and thinks like he's the smartest person in the room. He thinks he knows it all. He thinks he knows what he's doing. And evidently he doesn't. So to me, whether if it's the Canadian billionaire, Steve Apostopoulos, hope I'm pronouncing again the last name right, whether if it's Josh Harris, the Mitchell Rails group, along with Irvin Magic Johnson, to me, I want someone who can understand Commanders fans, that will do what's in the best interest for the Commanders, that will put the best talent out on the football field, that can change the stadium. Because if you look at our stadium, I mean, pardon my language, it's a shit show. It's a fucking shit show. I mean, it's embarrassing. It's disgusting. I mean, you can just go on YouTube and see all the videos. I mean, FedEx Field is just a disaster. And I just want an owner who will do the best they can. I just want someone who will do whatever it takes to help us win and turn this franchise around, because we've been a laughing stock. We've been a pitiful disgrace. We've been an embarrassment, a shame. We've been a shit show for 2.5 decades because of Daniel Snyder's stewardship. So for me, I just want someone, whoever it is, that can turn around this franchise, that can get the best staff, the best GM, the best type of people around, identifying, developing talent, getting the right type of coaches, getting the right type of players and personnel, and helping us win and making us marketable. It seems like an awful lot to ask, but I'm just desperate, folks. I really am. I'm just tired of witnessing year after year with this team. I mean, it's really hard to be a Commanders fan. It really is. Because I can't stand another fucking season of 6-11 and 7-10. I just think, to me, is pure bullshit. And I just think Washington fans like myself, we deserve better. Significantly better. That's what I hope. But anyway, folks, it's your boy Sports PSP. Thank you for tuning in to another episode on Commanders Demand. I'll try to come up with as more content as possible. Enjoy the rest of y'all day. Peace.